So, in between all the other projects, obviously the daily, obviously the daily being one, turbo car, and the fake car that is Brad's at the moment. We have some things there's some things I'd like to address before we get the new car, before I start installing stuff, just see where we're at. I guess a little bit of a reveal for the build. If you guys haven't seen thus far, if you're just kind of tuning in, so this is Brad's engine out of the old body kit car. Right now it has a Wotec little thumper in it. More than likely going to change that out. Not sure with what yet. We'll get back to you on that. But other than that, this thing is pretty much set up. It's a 3.4 bottom, 3.5 head, well 3.5 everything up, port work, heavier springs, all the goodies. The only thing I think we need to change actually is it has 19-pound injectors. But before we get that far, let me explain why I'm talking fuel injectors. So this is the original RSM supercharger off the actual RSM car. So the first prototype one, there's the drive shaft up there, some other stuff up there to go along with it. We need to get this mocked up. There's some things that need addressed with this unit, along with the drive shaft. We have a guy that's gonna help us with all that. Here's some of the other stuff too. Here's blow-off valve, some of the mounting stuff, some hoses, stuff like that. One of the mounts right there, but that's where the problem comes in. So the other part of the build reveal, we have this pile of parts here, along with this thing, and actually a cradle sitting out back. This is an F23 5-speed. Now, that mount and how that thing's designed is actually to go on the automatic, and pretty much that's all people ever did. It was such a rare thing to have, and with superchargers, they're the way they make power is a little more forgiving. So I understand why people just kind of stuck with automatics. So with this, what's going to kind of have to happen is trying to think of geometries. This would be the top of the trans, and on an automatic you would have something, I think, in this area where that plate would bolt and that holds that supercharger. So what we're going to do, we're going to get that off the tire, we're going to shove that on there, and then we're going to start bolting everything on the floor just to see where we're at. So we have some thinking to do, because that's nowhere near where that needs to be. Now, this right here could be a good starting point, but that leaves much to, because it's not giving any support to that blower. So, like I said, we're gonna have some help on this, hopefully, and we can hopefully get something going here, because Yeah, that's not even lining up like I would want it either. Quite honestly, I mean, it should be dead on with that. But it's a start. We know where we're at and can work on it from here. Okay, so I had to kind of push it off to the side because I was working on something else, but we can still keep figuring things out here because here's everything we got with it. Now, it doesn't seem like everything we're gonna need, so we're gonna work through and see if we can figure things out. So obviously so far, I've got the drive shaft on here. I did start one bolt, because I did figure out which one's going here. So it's these two as well. So that holds this together. A bunch of these set screws were out for some reason, and it's actually missing one, so I'll have to start a parts list to figure out what we're gonna need. I also need to find another one of these to go here. I just kind of found something that worked for now just to do markup, but it's not even like really tight in there. I went ahead and bolted this on. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on back on there to keep trying to figure out what everything is. Here's these 3 bolts. These will go in here to bolt this, to bolt the drive shaft to the actual supercharger. Can line it up. I figured out that these guys go here. Now, so far, obviously like we discovered, well, I guess that does kind of line up, doesn't it? My thing is, I really don't like that that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it needs more support. I'd like to figure something out to where, and obviously we're gonna have to watch the clutch cylinder, we're gonna have to watch clearance there, obviously, and obviously the line as well. Definitely come back to that. I think he does want to take this off to get it refinished. I think that's just a matter of taking that band off. Let's see what else we got here. So, I guess it kind of does. It's almost like it needs to go underneath. I don't know. That kind of stuff we'll figure out once it's in the car. But so oil line, I mean, I guess what we'll do is we'll tee off of this guy. That way it can feed that. That's the same place I feed my turbo off of. And then we'll have to make a drain. So that's kind of, I guess, how it's supposed to go. And this is what they expect. And then they go from there to there. So now we can kind of stare at it together in all its glory. I don't know why that looks like he just kind of bought an elbow and just sent it. I don't know. Definitely some things missing, but we have the main part, which is, I guess, the big deal. So this is essentially how it's supposed to look. And then with the 3/4 upper, it would work. So problem number 1, I can grab the 3/5 upper, but I can tell you right now, it's not going to line up and it's not going to fit. One of the ideas, actually the idea, is I would like to clock this, if I can, pointed down, right, in hopes, kind of look over here and think, that it falls in a spot where we can go straight down and then do a one-sided intercooler to where it's the same side in and out, and then come back up kind of like my intercooler piping is, you know, somewhere in here, and then come back up over and go into the upper intake. In which case we'll move this and do a welded one like mine is, and it also allows us to run a MAF sensor. And I really, really want to run a MAF sensor. I don't want to run this whole whatever they were trying back then. That's where we're at with that. Again, this part will probably be fine. I'm sure he'll probably want to change it to the carbon fiber like he had with the other one. But in a nutshell, this is what it looks like. Some other things. This stuff we have no idea. These are banjo fittings. I've got this thing and I have no idea where it's supposed to go. So it's bolted together. I mean, it has, like, it's supposed to go somewhere, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. I never see this thing in pictures, so I have no idea why this guy sent this, or if it has a purpose, what is it? Then there's also this stuff, and I didn't get pictures of this thing installed on that specific car, so I have no idea how all this kind of went down. It's still lacking that whole support that we want. And then this thing, I have not a clue, but it almost seems like, yeah, it was there for something, but at that angle, I'm not even sure. But that gives me ideas, because if we did it down here somewhere, I'd be curious as to what that does, where that falls. Not as much as I want, but it would give me something to support there. And bigger belt, obviously. I've obviously learned turbos, and I guess boost is boost, but this is a whole nother thing. Now, I've got a couple resources. I have one at least I can go see, because he's done this setup on his car. He's done a similar setup like this on his car. So the hooking of this up should be essentially the same as far as oiling, vacuum, figure out where to, you know, tap in for boost pressures, make sure this is going to function like it's supposed to, all that stuff. And I do know of one in my state that runs this specific setup in his Grand Am. I'll try to see if I can get down and get some visuals, get some pictures of what I think I need to know to try to make this work. Working with someone to hopefully get us new bearings, better bearings, to redo everything inside here. Supposedly there's an upgraded coupler as well. So just a lot of stuff to go in to make sure once we throw this in, it's just gonna last. You know, we're not gonna beat on it, it's just more for fun, but without being ironic, I don't want to run into issues. So that's all I'm gonna do for this one. Just kind of a general mock-up and overview as to what's going on here, how it works, and what our plans are. Obviously we can't do much until we have the car here. Definitely look forward to that. What I'll probably do as well is, I know a lot of people were asking about the whole 5-speed swap thing. We'll go ahead and do like an overview of that before we do an actual swap. I probably won't do a full-on how-to, but give you some pointers along the ways. Keep on trucking with this build, and hopefully start working on the other one too. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one.